Good evening and welcome to the June 22nd meeting of the Falmouth Conservation Commission. Before we get started, we just ask that any cell phones or electronic devices please be silenced. We greatly appreciate it. Also, if you were here to speak on any of the applications, and we encourage you to do so, we just ask that you take the podium, state your name for the record, and make sure you speak into the microphone. Even if you leave the podium, take the microphone with you. We are being recorded by FCTV. Okay, and first up, there's a request to continue a hearing for determination of applicability. And this is Gerald Conley, 313 Carrot Shop Road, East Falmouth, Mass, for permission to replace the existing patio with a stamped concrete patio, replace the walkway, wooden steps, clear 4-foot path, and to selectively clear trees, limbs, and brush. So this is a request to...
We don't have a date.
No, we gotta wait for Jen on that, so we'll table that.
I make a motion to table this.
Second.
Tabled.
I think you have to take a vote.
Okay. All those in favor of tabling, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstention, unanimous, so moved. Okay, next up is the same one, which is tabled. That's a RDA, which is the lesser of the two applications. What you want to hear on these is a negative determination. So we'll go down to John and Roberta Taylor, 36 Paulette Place, Falmouth, Mass, with permission to reconstruct the previous demolished 10-foot by 14-foot deck and enlarge to a 10 by 22-foot deck to include siding and a glass door, and a glass door, including a glass door. I'm just having a glass door.
And it's a -2 recommendation.
It is a -2, yeah.
So the recommendation is -2 under the state and the bylaw, resource area boundaries not confirmed by this RDA. So okay, go on, Maury.
Maury, a motion by Maury,
I second.
a second by Betsy. All those in favor of -2 on Paulette Place signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstention, unanimous, so moved. Linda Jeffrey, 63 Gerard Ave, Falmouth, Mass, with permission to install a 6-foot-high livestock wire fence with steel posts raised 12 to 18 inches above the ground for approximately 400 linear feet. Jen.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we are proposing a -2 under the state and the bylaw with the resource area boundaries not confirmed.
So moved.
Second.
A motion by-
1 second, Mr. Chairman, that is with the submission of a letter from Attorney Ament stating that, oh wait, no. I'm sorry, Bob. Thank you.
Okay, hang on just a second. We have a motion by Betsy and a second by Maury. Okay, Bob.
Thanks, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. I'm Bob Ament, attorney for the applicant. Over the last couple of weeks, we've had quite a number of discussions and correspondence with the Conservation Commission staff, who've really been great in helping us get this so that they can make a recommendation of a negative. And the fencing that's proposed would have 6-inch by 4-inch openings at the bottom, and the higher openings that were specified wouldn't restrain the dogs, and other conditions or other have been agreed to as part of the description of the work to be done, namely that any trimming of privet would not harm the privet, the goal being that the privet would grow through the fence so the fence wouldn't be visible. So I just want to be sure that with the correspondence and the revised description that we understand is satisfactory both to Mr. Kasperzik and to Ms. McKay, that's what you're making a negative determination with regard to.
So Bob, before you leave, you said instead of 12 to 18 inches, you're saying 6 by 8?
6 by 4-inch openings.
6 by 4-inch openings.
We gotta go back.
Yeah, I had a question on that. I was just wondering, is it up in the air so animals go underneath it?
No, because it's to enclose a couple German shepherds. So it will be in the ground.
Do we usually let fences for
Well, that's why they're allowing the openings, so for the passage of wildlife, smaller openings that the dogs can't get through.
Okay, so Fox can't get through and, okay, just
I-
asking, because we usually.
It's not that much of the yard, so it goes from the house to the road.
Okay,
It's not, it doesn't.
Obviously, you
it's-
did
yeah,
all the research,
It
you're
doesn't
happy.
insert the entire yard,
okay,
because we wouldn't let it go behind, so from the back of the house seaward,
Fine.
it doesn't, it comes off the side and closes that way.
as long as you're happy, I'm happy.
All right, so I think we're gonna have to amend that. We
All
have a
right.
motion and
My motion includes everything we just discussed.
And I
6x4.
will second that amendment.
Okay. So that would be the 6x4 openings. right?
Correct.
All right. Any other comments or questions from the board? Comments, questions from the public? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those
Aye.
opposed, no. Abstentions unanimous, so moved.
Thank you, Bob. Mr. Chairman, can we go back to, did the board vote a negative for 313 Carrot Shop?
No, we tabled it.
We tabled
Oh,
it. I
excellent.
untable the table.
Thank you.
First of all, it's continued.
So we
It's to be
Requested.
scheduled.
vote on table,
Second.
313 Carrot Shop Road. Motion by Betsy, second by Mike. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Yes, Jen?
We
It's to be-
tabled it, now
We
we're
tabled
on tabling it.
But it's to be continued.
Right. Right.
Are you clear, Susan? Yes. Okay, I don't want to. Okay.
What happens,
So
what happens when Jen leaves the room?
We
for
didn't have
I
explanation.
needed to take care of that. So the applicant is requesting a continuance until July 13th.
So moved.
Second.
Any other comments or questions? Comments, questions from the public? Hearing none, call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions unanimous, so moved. Okay, next is Beverly Marshall and Joy Ianella. 1 Crystal Springs Road, North Falmouth, Mass. For permission to replace the existing failed leaching field septic system to install a new Title V sewage disposal system. Jen?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we're recommending a -2 under the bylaw, a -3 under the state with the resource area boundaries not confirmed.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mary, second by Betsy. Want comments or questions? Comments, questions from the public? Hearing none, call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. Abstentions unanimous, so moved. Next is Cuthbert Family Irrevocable Trust, care of Donald Cuthbert, 30 Shore Road and Shore Road, map 13-03-001-012, North Falmouth, Mass., for permission to install underground water and electrical service from Quaker Road and Shore Road to 30 Shore Road. Jen?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, -2 under the state and the bylaw with the resource area boundaries not confirmed.
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Mike, second by Mary.
I just had one quick
Comments,
question.
questions?
We have an RDA, but we also have a
Correct.
NOI, so why didn't they just throw this in with the NOI? I'm just curious, because I don't know how long the run is on this dirt road, but,
Did you go down?
no, I did not, because it was an RDA.
No,
Oh, I mean, no, I didn't, I actually, no, I didn't, I
didn't
went to
go-
look at the septic, yes.
Oh, but you saw how far in
Yeah,
it went, because they had this mark.
Mark, yeah, okay, so that's.
But
all.
I'm thinking, I mean, you're bringing up another point. Is it their land?
No,
Do we have permission for
it's,
whoever's land it is?
not for the RDA. No, I don't believe so. You can ask Mr. McGrath, he's sitting in the audience.
So, don't we need the permission of the land to?
It states in a notice of intent that you need permission of the landowner. It does not state in an RDA that you need permission of the landowner.
Aha.
Mr. McGrath?
We've asked for permission to install the utilities. Obviously, we can't install them unless the
Property owner agrees to.
agrees to it.
You've asked, but you haven't gotten permission
Right.
yet. But you're saying you will get permission before you dig up the land,
So there's no
We
water.
can't do the work unless the owner says we can do it.
okay?
The road and the abutting, the property on the other side of the road are owned by the Roman Catholic Church.
So, I have another.
Okay.
So it's
there's
not as
no
easy
wa-
as going across the street and
Right.
getting permission from the landowner. Am I correct, Mr. McGrath?
Right. But the Board of Health said they have to bring in public water because the well that's on site is too close, and so it was a condition of Board of Health that we bring in potable water, and then the alternative septic system requires power, so we have to bring in power.
Okay.
Russ, I just have, so,
Sure.
so, this has a well on it. You're trying to bring in potable water in order for it to be permitted by the Board of Health. Am I correct?
It's a condition of the Board
Board
of
of
Health variance.
So would this be unbuildable if the people don't allow, if the church doesn't allow access over the property?
No,
Okay, I'm
because
just,
we'll bring in bottled water and we'd we'd cover the whole place with solar panels.
Not in the salt marsh, you wouldn't, but
well,
No.
yeah,
the
I'm
house
just-
I
itself,
meant-
that's fine. Just saying.
That's right.
well, if they don't get permission, it doesn't move forward, so that's that.
Anything else? Are you good with that, Susan? You got it? Okay. So I'm gonna call for the vote on the -2 for this RDA. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions, unanimous, so moved. Very good. Next is Carl and Mary Thorsten, 130 Racing Beach Ave, Falmouth, Mass, for permission to vista prune in accordance with the Falmouth Wetlands Regulation. Jen.
-2 under the state and the bylaw with the resource area boundaries not confirmed.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, so I got Betsy and Mary. Betsy with the motion, Mary with the second. Any other comments or questions from the board? Comments, questions from the public? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. Abstentions, unanimous, so moved. The estate of Wolf Springer, care of James Springer, 249 Shorewood Drive, East Falmouth, Mass, for permission to pump, fill, and abandon the existing cesspools and install a new Title V sewage disposal system. Jen?
-2 under the state and the bylaw with the resource area boundaries not
So
confirmed.
moved. Second.
Courtney on the motion, Mike on the second. Comments, questions from the board? Comments, questions from the public? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions, unanimous, so moved.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
for the record, I'd just like to make a correction. Go back to Jeff Roy on your agenda. It's misspelled. It's Jeff Roy, Geoffroy. Jeff Roy, not Jeff Reed.
Okay,
That's for the record.
okay. Okay, next is a request to continue a hearing under a notice of intent. The Little Pond Conservation Area, Town of Falmouth Conservation Commission, 89 Spring Bars Road, Falmouth, Mass, for permission to implement Phase 1 by construction of an access driveway, gravel parking area, main loop of a trail network, the implementation of invasive species management, native plant restoration, and the associated clearing, grading, and landscaping. Jen?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is going to be indefinitely postponed, so when we do, yes, I get that, Courtney. Courtney, did you,
What do you need?
it's going to be indefinitely postponed?
I thought we couldn't do that. Can we postpone it for like 4 months?
Yes, no, you can okay, first of all, you are the applicant, so you
Oh,
are
it's just weird.
indefinitely postponing your project, okay?
All right.
Second, you can indefinitely postpone a project if, when you bring it up again, you re-advertise and re-notify abutters, which is what you're going to do.
Oh, good. I'm glad we're
Okay.
gonna follow the rules.
Yes.
So I move that we
Usually, we don't.
indefinitely postpone it.
Second.
Okay, so a motion and a second. Who, that was you?
Mary.
Mary. Janet? Mike?
Being the applicant, the proposed road cut is in an area that is about to be paved. I suggest the applicant speak to the town so
This is
that we get the road cut done before they finish the work.
Mike, if there's an issue, why don't you talk to Jen, because she knows what's
Okay,
going on
Jen.
with that. Not right now.
The road cut, yes, we talked about it the other day.
Yeah.
we'll talk about it again.
We do it again.
We'll do it again.
Just-
Susan, we're just gonna postpone this.
Okay, so I need a vote to postpone. Any
You
other
already
comments or
did.
questions? Did you get okay. Comments, questions from the public? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye of postponement.
Aye.
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 All those opposed, no. Abstentions, unanimous, so moved. Okay. Request for a hearing under a notice of intent. All hearings of the Falmouth Conservation Commission are held simultaneously under the authorities of the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act and the Falmouth Wetlands Bylaw. Although a single decision of the commission is issued, it represents a separate decision under each authority. And first up is Little Pond Conservation Area, which was indefinitely postponed. So then that would lead to Cuthbert Family Irrevocable Trust, care of Donald Cuthbert, 30 Shore Road, Falmouth, North Falmouth, Mass, for permission to pump and remove the existing cesspool, upgrade with a new Title V sewage disposal system. That includes the installation of a leaching trench, a hoot tank, to remove 2 trees, to replace unpermitted cedar trees cut down with restoration, and the associated clearing, excavating, grading, and landscaping. Jen?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I will hold any of my comments until after Mr. McGrath's presentation.
Thank you, Jen. Good evening, Mike. Dan?
Ooh, that's nice and colorful.
Yes. Thank you.
Not enough for everyone? Okay.
Good evening, Mike.
My name is Michael McGrath. I'm a registered engineer and professional land surveyor, and Holmes McGrath is the engineers that have done this work. Across from a Roman Catholic church at St. Elizabeth Seton's, there's woods. If you go north of the church, there's a dirt road that forks off, and if anybody that went to the site saw it, we put a sign out there. There's a dirt road that meanders through the woods, and at the end of the dirt road, there's 2 houses, and we're working on this house, which has an address on Shore Road. That used to be the name for Quaker Road a long, long time ago. In any case, there's an existing building that's was built in 1953. The resource areas is that it's an estuary. There's a tidal body of water here, and it's extensive salt marsh. The site is in an AE zone elevation 17, and there's an AE zone 15, and the boundaries are shown on the plan. There's an existing cesspool that's located right there. If you've been to the site, you can see the manhole cover. There is not sufficient distance to meet the setbacks required under the local Board of Health regulations. And so we've applied to the Board of Health for local upgrade approvals, and they're listed on the full-scale size of the plan. The Board of Health had a hearing, and Monday night they voted to approve it. You won't have a decision yet because it takes them a little bit of time. But the bottom line is we're going to put in a proposed hoot system. What a hoot system is, it's an innovative alternative denitrifying septic system. It has good performance data. And it consists of a septic, well, a very large-scale tank with there's mechanisms inside that nitrify and denitrify. After that, there's going to be a pump station, and then we have a soil absorption system that is up against the street line, and we've gotten it as far away from the resource areas as possible. The Board of Health directed us that since this is too close to the leaching system and most likely is salty water, that this well be abandoned. So since we filed this, we filed revised plans showing a proposed water service being installed out to Quaker Road. So we're doing work within the, obviously within the resource areas. We've put in a proposed barrier, which is a silt fence for erosion. The Conservation Commission's staff said that there was evidence that there were missing trees, so we have placed 6 trees on the plan. The Mark has asked that they have a slightly greater spacing than shown, and I know we sent an email today to staff, to Mark, saying that we would agree to spread these out a little bit. So, I believe that's all the activities we've asked for. So if anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Jen?
Couple of questions, Mike. The maintenance on the decks, there was no permit for them?
Oh, I do, yes. We acknowledge that there's been repairs to the deck. If you look at it, the decks look new, but they appear to us to be the same size as at the aerial
So why didn't your
photographs.
applicant seek a permit to repair a deck that's in the salt marsh? It's not near the salt marsh, it's in it.
It's over the salt marsh.
It's still, if you bird's eye view, you're within our jurisdiction, why didn't your client?
I don't know, I'm not the, I'm an engineer,
Well, I
I'm
could
not the.
disagree with your staff, in which they said the existing decks were repaired in 2013, there was no change in footprint, so the repairs were considered maintenance and no conservation approval was obtained. You know that maintenance requires conservation approval. If you're working within the jurisdiction of the Concom, you are required to either obtain a permit or at least talk to the staff, which was not done. That said, how are you gonna dewater? It's been a while, Mike. We haven't seen you in a while.
I'm going to look at the plan
Okay,
before I answer.
okay. Because I'm assuming you're gonna have to dewater. I mean, you're at elevation 6 on 1. Where do they, Maury, do you know where they encounter
We
groundwater?
get
Shown
the
on the plan.
groundwater
Shown on
at
the plan.
1.9. That's the adjusted groundwater. And that was the actual groundwater that we hit. So the bottom of both tanks will be within the groundwater.
Okay,
So the only way that you can dewater here would be to put in basically a clean dumpster surrounded by hay bales and pump into it.
where
And,
is that gonna be located?
There's not much room on this site.
Which is precisely why I'm asking, where is it going to be located?
I think I'd have to move the limit of work and put it over here, because the only way to get this done is there's no room to turn around, for instance, so it would have to be over in this area and they have to pump to it.
Okay, Mike, why didn't the applicant explore the option of a tight tank in this area? Just given the, it's just a question.
To me, tight tanks are the last possible thing that should be done, and that's what the code says.
Okay,
So it's appropriate for us to have applied, and the Board of Health reviewed it, and they voted to approve it.
and why is
This-
in your opinion, should it be the last resort? I mean, a tight tank.
Holding tanks?
Yeah, tight tank gets pumped out, correct? So there's no leaching there's nothing going into the ground?
The code basically describes it in Title V as one of the last resorts. The other thing is that it always goes off at the wrong possible time. And I just know that in a couple of instances where we've done holding tanks, the owners have not been happy with them.
Okay, well, I asked the question. I had this conversation with you, Mr. Chairman. I knew the DEP was not, they do from a Title V standpoint, like the holding tanks, the last resort, although I know this board has issued a permit for one, and I believe it was in Woods Hole. But the only two
We
people
had
I
a
think that would
holding tank,
remember
Black
would be
Beach.
Black Beach.
Black Beach Road.
Black Beach, yeah, Drift Road.
Mhm.
Drift Road, we did
And we-
one,
And we did one off of Wright Street in West Falmouth,
I don't remember.
off of Quaker,
that.
right off of
Yep.
Quaker
Yeah.
Road.
I remember the one in Woods Hole, and Betsy and Courtney were on the board, well, actually, and you are right, there was one in Drift Road, I forgot about that one.
And one in Wright Street in West Falmouth.
But-
All right, Mike,
but-
you're gonna have to put the dewatering, at least a dewatering schematic in the location on the plan.
Yes, I
Okay.
understand. The other point is that if this system treats us well here as it has done in other places, it's going to be a much better improvement in that cesspool's installed in the groundwater, and 100% of that nitrogen is going to be in the form of ammonia. It will eventually reach the water because there's all the anaerobic conditions between there and the water, so this is a much better system and a much better solution
Than the existing cesspool, but
than
not
the existing
necessarily,
cesspool.
better than having a holding tank, correct? Because in a
believe
holding
me,
tank,
holding
nothing would
tanks-
be going into the environment, correct?
It would be difficult to get a pump
Perhaps
truck
that's
in and out
true,
of there.
but at the same time, you're going to be trying to drive a very heavy truck down
I
that
know.
little narrow road. There's no place to turn around, and no matter what, there's inevitable spills when you pump a septic system. So,
Well, you still have to pump the hoop.
Yeah.
yeah, but much less frequency.
So there's
What's
a
it-
big heavy truck going down the little dirt road with the hoot tank too, correct?
Less
Yes.
frequency, he just
I
answered.
know, I'm just
Much less
giving Mike a hard
frequency.
time tonight, that's all. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Courtney,
No questions.
Kristen? Maury?
Mike, I have a couple questions. On the hoop system, what is the required maintenance on those?
Well, it's gonna have to be quarterly,
4 times a year?
4 times a year. Now, it's a seasonal house, it may be 3 times a year, or twice a year, whatever.
And a tight tank would be how many times a year?
Well, the average flow in a house is 150 gallons a day, so,
But this is seasonal, so apples to apples, oranges to oranges.
hold on, I'll do the math.
Thank you. Still on. Hold on. Mr. Chairman, did you send me that email you were going to?
Approximately once a month, there'd be a tanker going on.
So it's seasonal, so that would be like 4 times a year?
Yes.
Okay, so it'd almost be equal, but, and the hoop system is 90% nitrogen removal, it's still a big improvement.
Oh, but
The
what's
big
it?
difference is the hoop tank is huge, so it does take a lot of disturbance to put that in. The other question I have, Mike, the only 2 trees that are gonna be removed is because of, it looks like the tank installation.
Yes.
One is right on the property line, I'm not sure it is really whose it is. The second one, and if you look and you take those rhododendrons, which are a cultivar and are not in our plant list, and you remove those and you put the tanks there, you would save the 2 trees and you would actually be further from the salt marsh. Not that the tanks make that much difference because they're not leaching anything. But you could save those 2 trees and get rid of the rhododendron, and you could also de-water in that area if the rhododendrons were gone. Because that's where I would recommend the de-watering, is where the rhodies are.
First off, it's very difficult to place those tanks.
Oh, I know.
And I don't see how you could leave the 2 trees and expect to place the tanks with the,
Well, that's why I said move the tanks, that's exactly what I'm saying. That if you put the tanks in before the leach field, where the rhododendrons are, your setbacks and your variances to the existing house would be the same, only your distance to the salt marsh would be less, and you wouldn't lose 2 trees.
well, when I look at it, I'm thinking that the inside of the house, we have to now reset all the plumbing to make it come out the other side, so that's not,
It's not a big deal.
I didn't know you were a plumber.
Well, we've had this
I
case
just did
before.
18
Hang on,
Mike,
one at a time, please, one at a time, please.
I've just done 18 of these, Mike.
This
and
is,
I mean,
this is on a
it's not-
slab though, Mike?
No,
Yeah.
No, no, there's a,
It's
looks
a
like a garage
garage.
door underneath the deck that goes in.
Okay.
So those were my concerns.
You all set, Maureen?
Thank you.
We obviously were trying to save the rhododendron.
Well, that would be the last thing we'd want to save, because it's a cultivar.
Mike?
It's been said, no comment.
Betsy?
I'm just gonna make the comment that we've had people redo the plumbing in
That's
other
what I asked
cases
if it was on
to
the slab.
save, yeah. to
Jetty
save.
Lane,
And
we just did one on Jetty Lane,
what's the place across from me?
Jetty Lane, Nemasket,
No, the street, yeah, Jenny Lane.
Jetty Lane.
Jerry Lane and
With,
Mascot
uh,
and Little
BSS.
Island Road
Yeah.
across from me, Betsy.
Right, I would prefer that, too.
Moving the system to where the roadies are.
Yeah, and saving those two big oak trees.
And the survival rate of the ones that he's gonna replant, I mean, we all know it's tough to, one's right on the edge of the salt marsh, so.
That's all I have.
Thanks, Betsy. Mary?
I'm wondering, I didn't get to this site this week, but I'm wondering about these stumps. Apparently there were 4 stumps, and I'm wondering if they should go on the plan for future reference. Might be in the applicant's interest to have them on the plan now,
Well, there's,
if they're,
if you look, there are 3 stumps shown in a narrative that said there was, someone asserted there was another one, but we couldn't find it. So the stumps are shown.
so, I didn't hear that last part.
The stumps are shown.
I'm sorry. On the plan?
In the narrative.
Oh, in the narrative.
Look at the,
Mike, it's really hard for them to see, I see where you are saying,
let me go up and I'll show you.
Mary, SM8, right under the word salt.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that little drawing
Oh,
is a
yes,
stump.
okay, okay,
There's another one here.
all right, that's
Oh,
fine,
That's a new little thing.
that's fine, I just,
Let's hope you don't have to use it very often.
you know, that if, if they come again, then it's on the record that they were dealt
Yes,
with
Mary.
already. Okay, thank you.
Jamie?
Just to be clear, the 6 proposed trees are for past sins and proposed work.
Yes. Oh. 2 to replace the 2 trees that we proposed to remove, and then 3 to make up the other one.
Thank you.
I just had
So
one-
it would seem that I should ask for a continuance in order to discuss with the owner.
Mike, can I ask you a question? Do you have to go back to the Board of Health
Yes.
if you had to relocate these tanks?
Yes,
All right. Maureen, do you have something?
No, I just wanna make one comment, Mike, this is an improvement, so I'm not against this, I think it's a good thing. It was just if something better could be done, like save the 2 trees, but if it's not possible, what you're doing is way better than what is there. And I just wanna make that clear, that I'm not trying to be obstructive about this, but it's just when people try, and I know, people try to save the pretty rhododendrons, and they don't wanna save the ugly oaks and the cedars. But if they could be saved just by turning the tanks, so they're butt end to butt end, might help. But it is, I know, getting the tanks in where they are right now, you have to remove those trees. There's no way you're getting the tanks in there, which
Plus,
is why I suggested
plus
moving
there's
the
no
tanks.
place to store the material, the earth, so we actually, the dump truck has to be there when he digs, because there's no place to store it.
I know, you have to take it all off-site.
So-
Been there, done that.
This is a very, very constrained site.
I have one other comment, though. Where those tanks right now are proposed
Mhm.
is a beautiful natural ground cover. It's native, low native shrubs.
Well, again, just, where the rhododendron is the easiest place for, like Wiggins precast with a hoop tank to come in and not do a 90. They can come more in a
They're gonna have to back in, there's no
Well,
way.
of course they have to back in, but I'm just saying, when they back in, there's only so much turning room even there. And the only other thing, Mike, is, on the legend, could you, if this does get continued, to put the, NISA on the legend. You show it on the plan, but it's just not on the legend.
What? I'm sorry?
Your priority habitat, estimated in priority habitat, you have it on the plan, but you don't have it in your legend, the hash line.
We got a letter from Division of Fisheries and Wildlife that says it doesn't occur within estimated habitat or
No,
rare
it's
wildlife.
on the other side.
priority.
But it's,
Oh, where is it?
It's a
the
real
whole
cl-
project is outside of it, but he has, it's actually the property, the work is not within it, but the property is within
But,
it.
yeah, it's.
And usually just put it on the
Okay.
legend.
Oh, all right.
The work is all of 5 feet off where they have it.
And there's also an exemption for single-family lots less than 4 acres.
It's not a taking, right.
So,
Yeah, you're fine, Mike, with that, but
That's fine.
what Maury's saying, just put the little hash mark in the legend part.
okay.
Thank you.
We have a
So
date?
it would seem I should discuss the change that you want with the client. So can I have a continuous for 2 weeks?
No, Mike, it's gonna have to be on the 20th. Is that okay for you?
20th of July, is that what you're saying?
Correct. They don't meet on the 29th or the 6th, and the 13th is, you have 5 new notices in the ANRAD, and the dredging project continued. It's up to you guys. I can put it on the 13th, but that's
Shouldn't be
one
that.
long night.
Should be simple.
Should be simple,
wanna
but
do
it's
that?
tying them up
Mike
to
has all
upgrade.
the, you have all the notes, you'll do what has to be done, right?
Yes.
Okay, 13th it is.
At the request of the applicant, make a motion to continue to 7/13.
Second.
Motion by Betsy and a second by, is it Courtney? Any other comments, questions from the board?
Just one question, reserve area, is that,
It's on there.
you know, needed? I'm sorry.
Oh, wait, no,
They're not making
I
you do it
couldn't
now.
even hear it.
Reserve area was waived.
Pardon me?
They waive it when there's a.
Reserve area was waived.
Yeah,
Oh.
because if they have to strip out, it has to go back in the same.
Yeah,
spot.
oh, no, I understand.
Okay, anything else?
Nope.
Anything from the public? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions, unanimous, so moved. Next up is Saconaset Hills Association, Saconaset Road, map 36-03-014-001, West Falmouth, Mass, for permission to restore coastal dune, install seasonal dune rope protection, provide a management plan for extended timber boardwalk and stairs at the south side of the property, the approval and seasonal maintenance of existing 9 timber kayak racks at the north end of the property. That requests for compliance under DEP 25-1631 and 25-1632 are granted. Once compliance for the present application is given in the associated grading and landscaping. Jen?
Thank you.
I'll save any of my comments until after Mr. McGrath's presentation. When did we just make the McGrath?
My name is Michael McGrath. I'm an engineer and land surveyor. I work for Holmes McGrath. We filed the notice of intent. This is at the Saconaset Hills Community Beach. It's a private beach. There's a series of activities that are going to occur or activities that we're going to permit. If we start out here, this is the turnaround that's at the beach. This is the Little Sippowisset Creek, Buzzards Bay. This is beach. It's within map National Heritage priority habitat for terns, and there's been pipe and plover observed on the other side of the creek. So there's this, the activities are, if they'll This walkway was rebuilt after Hurricane Bob, and now it's 17 feet longer than it was permitted. So we're looking to have that authorized. There's some erosion that's occurred in this area here, and we're trying to, we're showing that to be restored and revegetated with a amorphal as shown. Then we have also shown a restoration of dune vegetation in this area. And then over here, there were 4 original kayak platforms, and there are now more than there were originally shown on the original permit some time ago. It appears to us, and we've given you photographs, that there's been no real damage from the use of the additional kayak frames. The purpose of having the frames is to keep the kayaks off the rest of the dune and off the beach. There are currently 4 paths that go from these platforms out to the beach, and so we're going to revegetate 3 of them. There's a cross-section that's shown, and part of this was to mitigate some of the impacts that have occurred here. So we have voluntarily submitted to the commission, or the homeowners have, a set of regulations that describe how, these are going to be used. So you are going to see that there's been a concerted effort to make sure that this use is limited. We also, because there's been piping plover observed on the other side of the creek, and because there could be tern habitat here, we're showing here a seasonal proposed rope fence that's similar to what's across the harbor, and that's to keep the people out of the dunes. So we think with that the application appropriately mitigates impacts and appropriately sets aside, restores resource areas, and obviously appropriately protects rare and endangered species habitat. Are there any specific questions I could answer?
Thanks, Mike. Jen?
Mike, the finally due planting area in 92, you're redoing that, or
Pardon me?
are you redoing where you have 92 dune planting area? Are you redoing that area?
This here, right here? It says edge of dune area.
No, the one above.
There's some erosion that
No,
we're trying to fix.
no, one above, Mike.
No, we're not trying, I'm just showing the ones.
You're just showing that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I forgot to give you these.
I have no questions, Mr. Chairman. Mark and I went out with the applicants to review the area. I mean, the only concern we had was with the number of kayak racks, but if the board's comfortable with the measures they're taking by kind of containing that area, the racks are in, closing up the additional paths and everything, and just making sure the 2 access points with the ropes, I'd rather the kayaks be off the dune
Me
grass
too.
and away from
Me too.
the endangered species habitat. So I think it's a good effort.
Thanks, Jen. Jamie?
No question.
Mike?
Mary?
No questions.
I have a question, but Mike, are these both for this one?
Yes.
Did none for Shore Road?
When
Got it.
this finishes, I'll bring it.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you. My question is, I think this is a nice effort, and we've seen several of these recently, which I mean, people sort of upgrading, trying to make more environmentally sound beach areas. My only comment is where the kayak racks are and getting to the water, instead of just having a straight shot, if you could make that sort of a zigzag.
You realize
See what I
it
mean?
exists, it exists now.
Well, but I still would. I mean, if you get a surge going up there, it's gonna
So you want them to go up a certain distance, turn, and then turn again?
Betsy, wouldn't that disturb more of the
Yeah.
dune where that area is? I know what you're saying, you don't want a funnel effect. You don't want it to go like this in a
Yeah,
big
which
storm
is
surge.
what's gonna happen if there's a big
Yeah,
storm.
and I agree with you on that, it will happen, but to do a zigzag effect in that area, they don't have, it's not that big.
And the
I
other
don't think
point
they have
is
the area to do it.
the
All right.
kayaks are so long
Yeah.
that you sort of
They're
fight
not
it.
gonna get around the
I get your
zigzag.
concern, Bets, I just think
Yeah.
in this area,
I don't think so.
it's better left
It's
with
only
the way it
15
is.
foot long path.
Straighten it out.
Okay, you've all convinced me. That's all I have to say.
Thanks, Betsy.
What was that,
Wow.
Maury?
Is it
That's a
15
first.
foot path?
Yeah, but you go 7 feet.
No, I said
Mike.
it's only 15.
Yeah, it's not that big.
No, I think it's an improvement, I like your comment.
Maury?
I like it. The only question I had again is in your legend, you should put the natural heritage in the legend. And how are you getting the sand there? To fill in everything? And for the vegetation? Sorry, Mike. I just didn't know if you're using a track machine.
We don't have a legend.
Yeah, you do.
Oh, all right, sign, flagpole, all right.
You have a key. Not
No,
called
he has a legend.
It's
He has a
called
legend.
key.
He has a key
He
and he
has
has a
both.
legend. And the
Oh,
legend
yeah.
only has a sign and the flagpole.
Well, there, obviously we'll have to bring the sand down the boardwalk with something like a wheelbarrow, because there's not that much when it comes down to it.
Okay, I just didn't know. Not so much for where you're filling the paths, but I don't know if you're bringing them up to the same elevation of the dune that's there.
Well, that's what the cross-section shows.
Yeah, so I
So
just
there
wanna
would
make
be-
sure.
That's a little different, they have to come over on, I didn't go up that end, so I don't know what it was.
Well, that's just, I just don't know if they have to come down and run a track machine along the beach and dump it where you wanna plant, or, and if so, we just
It would
condition
have
that.
to be a very small one.
Yeah,
What do you do?
like a dingo, that's all I'm thinking, is they might take a
Yeah.
dingo and,
A dingo would work.
I don't know.
Can't we condition it?
Yes, that's what I
And if
just
they
said.
need to do something other than the way we condition it, they
Yeah,
have to come
because
in
to
and
go
talk to
from the
you.
parking lot to the beach, you go up a set of stairs, down a thing, and then down another set of stairs. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's going to be feasible to bring all that sand in by wheelbarrow.
That's what I'm saying, so
Yeah.
you don't wanna handicap the guys doing the work.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Frank McNeese, I'm the head of the Saconaset Hills Neighborhood Association. Good evening. There's a couple of other board members here and a couple of our residents as well. Thank you, Mike. I can speak to the manual procedure. Frankly, we'll figure it out. We'll do the right thing. It's a bit arduous, but I know we can manually get that sand in there, and we'll make that happen. Charlie Cooper is our resident scientist. Charlie, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's pretty manageable. Right? The other point I would like to make is, from your point of view with this, appreciate the supportive comments. Our intent is just what Mike has indicated and what's been described is initially to repair what's pretty obvious cuts in the dunes, and to manage the growth and usage of the racks over time. There's been a few more homes added in Saconaset each year. It seems to have stabilized now, but the usage has grown, so our intent is to stabilize the usage of the racks. We have a procedure to do that. We have little sticker systems now that says you have to have a sticker in order to be there, and if you've got a stickered boat, it belongs on the rack, not thrown on the dune. Second is to, largely initiated our efforts, is to repair what's pretty obvious dunes, even to a layman, cuts in the dunes, and hence our work with Mike to get the plan together. And lastly, in getting through all this, is encountering the need to close the old work orders. I'm just echoing what's already been said. So anyway, our thoughts. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. McNeese.
Yeah, I'm all set. I just didn't wanna not
No,
give
we
them an
can-
option.
We can leave that in
We
there.
can give
Yeah.
them the
Yeah.
option.
Okay, Kristen?
Jen, was there any problem with the walkway being permitted?
No, they were seeking to permit the extension of it now. It kept growing to kind of chase the erosion.
How many
Jen.
people are there now using that area?
I don't know
I mean,
the
how-
size
how-
of the association. The association can answer that. Sir, you gotta go back up.
You gotta go to the mic, just to make. Thank you.
There's a little over 100 homes in Saconaset now. Our usage is about 40 kayaks.
Oh, okay. Do you expect that to continue to get bigger, or is that pretty much, you're pretty leveled out there? Or?
I suspect that we'll continue to see more demand, so again, we have a first come, first serve process in place now. This is our first year with that for the stickers. And if you don't get one, then you have to ask your pal if you can use a kayak, basically.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. But I think the demand, I don't see a step function increase, but somewhat over time. Yeah.
Thank you. You all set, Kristen?
Yes, thanks.
Courtney?
No questions.
Okay.
I move that we close this hearing and take it under advisement.
Second.
No motion by Betsy and a second by Mike. Close it here and take it under advisement. Any other comments or questions? Thank you.
This is for the other one. Okay, thanks.
Comments, questions from the board? Okay, no more? Any comments, questions from the public? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for the vote to close the hearing and take it under advisement. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. Abstention, unanimous, so moved. Thank you.
I didn't present it.
Next up is Charles Chevalier and Jean Murphy, 59 Minot Road, Falmouth, Mass. This has been read into the record once already, and this is the fence reconstruction. Jen?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the board has seen this project before. It was, it's coming back to you for a procedural issue in which the applicant needed to obtain the permission from the Board of Selectmen on the neighboring property to do the work. I think the board also wanted a few updates on the plan, like the lot coverage updates. So basically, it is just to remove the existing concrete wall and build a new concrete wall on the applicant's property, instead of on the town of Falmouth property. And I think that's about it, correct, Mike?
Yeah, why not?
No, this is a new hearing. It's not a completed hearing. So anyway.
You all speak,
Yes.
Jen? Okay. Mike?
He's pointing it out, Mike.
Well, I'm sorry. I jumped ahead. You will be first. Mike, your presentation, I apologize.
Hey, you want me to?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the commission, my name's Michael Borselli from Falmouth Engineering. And I represent the applicant, Chuck Chevalier. Mr. Chevalier's in the audience tonight. If there's any specific questions for him. If you recall, I made a complete presentation of this project. I described the structural plans that are in your file, the methodology, the access, and it was procedurally denied because we hadn't secured the license from the selectmen. We had expected it was going to be a condition of the approval, but evidently I misunderstood. So we did go to the selectmen. On May 16th, the Board of Selectmen voted to authorize a temporary license, which allows Mr. Chevalier to remove the portion of the wall, which, to remind you, is about 1 foot over the property line and parallel to it, to remove it from the town land, and then when it's rebuilt, to rebuild it on the land of Mr. Chevalier. So we, unfortunately, I've called and called and called. I can't get a copy of the minutes. Town council hasn't prepared the temporary license. But if you watch the video, you'll see that it was voted. So I can't make them issue the license faster than they would process things. So we also made some revisions to the plans. Jen alluded to the lot coverage calcs. I have some documents I wanted to submit to the record for you, one of which is, I think it was Commissioner Harlow Hawks that asked about a Chapter 91 license. We found the license. I also have some old land court plans. There was a question about the fence. There's an existing fence on the property line that has been there forever.
Forever.
It's a privacy windscreen to the wind, obviously, for the southwest prevailing wind, and privacy from Bristol Beach, which is right next door. I know of two commissioners that I think would say they recall it being there forever. But I also found a land court plan from 1937 that makes a reference to a fence. The aerial photo is simply not going to show it. I looked at them. It's just the resolution and the altitude that they're taken from, you just can't see them. But I can tell you, it serves a function, and this land court plan shows it. So I was going to submit that for the record. There's also another land court plan that just from 1936 that shows the wall, and I have a copy of the license, and I also have an old, you might remember this, maybe Maury does, something called an emergency certificate, which was issued just after Hurricane Bob, to allow people to make emergency repairs and not go through the full process of a notice of intent. So I just submit these for your record. And Mr. Chevalier and I are both here to answer any questions.
Jen?
I don't have any questions.
Mike? Now, this Mike.
Well, I can't tell you what kind of a fence it was. There was a fence at that location in 1970. That's my only comment.
Remember. Maury?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't saying that there wasn't a fence there, but you had to prove that there was a fence there, which you still haven't really done, except for no, I said he hasn't done. You've done it, but he didn't do it. And that's one of the reasons that you had the procedural denial, because there were several things that were not done that we asked for. So I just want to make that clear. And, you know, whether it was a fence in 1970 that was a stockade fence, that was before the Wetland Protection Act, so it could have been, you know, whatever. I obviously have a concern in a B zone, a solid 6-foot wood fence in a high-velocity area, and during a hurricane, where it's gonna end up. And I will still have that concern, whether it was there or not. I think it's not very prudent to put one back in that area, and that's just my opinion. I would rather see privacy done with native trees, shrubbery, that would block the wind, help build a dune, whatever, but that's just my opinion.
Thanks, Maury.
And thank you for the other information that you did not provide us with before.
Thank you.
Kristen?
You said there are a couple of changes, but can you go over a few of them?
I submitted a letter, 12 copies of this letter. They highlight the changes. The revised plans update lot coverage calculations.
It's not clear to me where they are.
Actually, there's only one revision, but there was additional information submitted or obtained from the selectmen, so if I said there was more than one revision, I misspoke. There was actually one plan revision. And the plan revision date, 5/31/16, says revised lot coverage.
So what was that revision? I'm sorry.
Lot coverage.
Lot coverage.
The lot coverage, okay. And then, okay, thank you. That's all.
Courtney?
No questions.
Betsy?
I just want to be clear, Mike. Did you state when you first started this hearing tonight that you misunderstood as opposed to being misled by us last time?
Yeah.
I just want to
Yeah,
make that clear.
I misunderstood because at the original hearing, and I think if you review the video, it seems as though we were going to a place where I was going to be able to get an order of conditions that had a condition that I must first secure the license. There was a hearing earlier tonight where you allowed work to proceed without written permission from a property.
That was under an RDA.
I'm just making the point, so
But since that point was brought up, the things that were required for this are required under a notice of intent. So, no matter what sense you got, it's not our responsibility to say how we're gonna vote.
Right, but my point, if you let me finish my thought process, is if you look at the video, it appeared that you were going to condition that we secure the license. If I had thought otherwise, I would have asked for a continuance.
And some
So
of
I
us- and some of
I
us-
misunderstood.
Well, and I'll tell you, I'm gonna tell you how I voted on that. I actually voted for it to go on, just because I like to have things move along. But I had no problem that there was a procedural denial. I mean, I fully support the vote of the board, as I always do. Because there were things that are required in the notice of intent that weren't present.
My only point, and I'll say it again, is if I had had some additional clue, I would have asked for a continuance. Why would I not? That's my point.
But you knew that you didn't have certain things that are required when you submit a notice of
I
intent.
can't say anything else. Sorry.
Well, I'm trying to educate you.
I know, but I don't agree, so
Well, I'm trying to educate you for the next time you have to come before this board.
Right, but I think there could be some courtesy where, hey, we really like that before we close. Would you like a continuance so we could get that information? It was not clear.
You are always, I'll make it clear right now. I want you to understand, you always have the right to ask for a continuance.
Yes, and I know that, but sometimes you don't know that a continuance may be necessary when the body language of the commission is such that you think they're going to make it a condition. There would be no reason why I wouldn't have asked for the continuance. Why would I do not? If I had thought I needed a continuance, I would have. That's my point, and that's just where we are, and it was a misunderstanding.
Anything else, Betsy?
No, that's all. Thank you.
Mary?
No questions or comments?
Jamie?
No questions.
Very good, what's your pleasure?
I'll make a motion, close the hearing, and take it under advisement.
A motion by Betsy and a second by Jamie. Any other comments, questions?
I just have one question, not one, just a question, actually. I don't sit and watch TV at night, I usually don't even watch it. So I did not see the selectmen meeting, I did not see the approval, I don't know, I have nothing in the plan. I didn't even see that there was a cutout from the newspaper that you even applied for the hearing. I'm sure it's true. But are we going to, again, condition this project that we get this permission from the selectmen? Because again, we don't have anything from the selectmen. I mean, I'm not
So-
saying it's not true, and it's not, they didn't give it, but we don't have it, again. Which, that was one of the hiccups we had last time, Mike, is we said, and I remember Jen saying clearly, we'll let you do it this time. We'll give you this one, which was to get the information to us. And that's why we had a procedural denial. It wasn't because it wasn't a good project, it was because we didn't have the information. We're right back there
Well, if I
again.
could, through you, Mr. Chairman, what is it that you would need that I could try to secure from someone that
A
won't?
document that goes in the
One
record.
at a time, please. Maury's got the floor. Thank you.
Just to have an engaging conversation here, I don't know what else I can do other than ask for a continuance and continue to ask for continuances until I get the selectmen to issue the license. There's nothing else I can do.
Because the minute we close this, the clock is
The clock
ticking.
is ticking, and that's.
So would
And
you?
then if they decide, I don't know if there's a time limit on the selectmen to produce the, or is it?
I don't
at
think
their-
there's a time limit for the
I would
selectmen
think there's
to
two
induce.
options you have. You can vote to approve this with a condition that says no work shall proceed until
Okay,
you
that's,
secure
if you're fine with that,
the
I'm fine with it.
license. Or you can
Yeah,
say
I'm
to
fine with
me,
that.
we don't feel comfortable closing until we have it.
The Board of
Ask for-
Selectmen voted to approve the license, guys.
Thank you.
Okay,
So-
They
then
just don't
let's
have the
do-
physical
So
that's
document.
that'll
fine.
be a condition. We just need something written,
In
boom.
the record.
Then I'm
Right.
fine with that.
Okay.
I just don't want to be back where we were again, and again, you feel that our body language misled you, because I'm not going to mislead you again. Without the document, I would ask you to continue this, but under the circumstance, then I would say that we'll close it with a condition that no work will proceed until that document has been submitted to staff.
And that seems to be
Okay.
I know
perfectly
I know that
legitimate.
council is working on another one for you. I have not heard from council on this one,
Mhm.
so,
That would be the
Okay.
one on Gray Pond.
correct.
Anything else?
They're working on that license, and then we'll work on this license.
Anything else? Okay, anything from the public? Anything further? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Abstentions, unanimous, so moved. Meeting is, the hearing is closed. Okay, next up.
It's Mike again.
Next up is Susan Bodine Lord, 173 Metoxet Road, Lockwood, Mass, for permission to clear vegetation over coastal bank for construction access, regrade the slope, install approximately 50 linear feet of core fiber rolls around 600 square feet consisting of 6 rows, cover the fiber rolls with sand and plant with American beach grass, install temporary above-ground irrigation system, and the associated clearing, excavating, grading, and landscaping. Jen?
Mr. Chairman, do you open these simultaneously?
Yes,
That's what I was gonna
Thank
ask,
you.
too.
yes.
So, I'm gonna read,
One
next one.
second, Mr. Chairman.
169 is Metoxet Road, that's William and Linda Dublier.
For opening.
169
Mr.
Metoxet Road, Lockwood, Mass, for permission to clear vegetation over coastal bank for construction access, regrade the slope, install approximately 65 linear feet of core fiber rolls consisting of 6 rows, cover the fiber rolls with sand, plant with American beach grass, install temporary above-ground irrigation and the associated clearing, excavating, grading, and landscaping. We'll take them simultaneously. Jen?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, so the board knows they're basically adjacent projects. Council likes to see 2 notices filed, but you can treat this as one project because it's going to just span. The council does want to see these types of projects filed separately, 2 orders of conditions issued, but you can open them and we can discuss them as one
And close them.
project entirely.
Well, we have
and
to close the
them
2
both.
separately.
Yes.
Right.
So I'll save any of my comments until after Mr. Borselli.
Mike, again.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, for the record, Michael Borselli, Falmouth Engineering, and I represent both applicants, the Dubliers and Susan Lord. The Dubliers are here tonight, one of the applicants, Bill and Linda. I'm also joined by Chip Schultz, who's the contractor who will do the work on this project. We've been working closely with the applicants to come up with a strategy to attack the problem that we're here tonight, hopefully to get permission to execute. So the properties in question are Lot A and B, and they have access from a toxic road down a long dirt driveway. They have frontage on Waquoit Bay. They face west. Waquoit Bay, resource areas associated with Waquoit Bay are land under the ocean, land containing shellfish. There's a coastal beach. There's a salt marsh to the north on an abutting property. There's a timber bulkhead on a portion of Lot A. There's a coastal bank along the entire frontage of the properties, portions of which are non-eroding, portions of which that are eroding. And the eroded part is why we're here tonight. The common boundary between the 2 properties is here, and on both properties, the bank has eroded severely. If you've been to the site, you see that. The property to the south owned by Lord is probably more threatened, the structure itself. The Dublier house is still very much of a concern. The property owners have watched it erode for a few years now, and finally they're in a position where they want to try to address it. So the application and the plan to address it is to try to stabilize it using a soft solution, a fiber roll system. You've been
seeing these recently. Jen alluded to a project I worked on that you issued an order of conditions on where it was the same type of system, a fiber roll system, which is still really armoring, but it's not hard armoring. It's, I guess we call it soft armoring. So we're proposing the core roll logs to be installed on the bank and fastened using the fastening system that's specified. There's a geomembrane that's associated with it to secure it in place. We're proposing to then place beach-compatible sand at the top of it to shape the slope, and then to veneer and the core logs and plant American beach grass in double columns, 12 inches on center in staggered rows. So the location on the beach is shown, or it's actually above the beach, on the bank is shown. There are different cross sections because depending on the height, you may need 6 or 4. So we've shown, and then there may be a transition where there may be a little section where there's 5. As the height of the erosion diminishes, we'd need 4 instead of 6. So we're showing the way that it would be in both situations, and we're also showing a 6 on both 2 cross sections, one on the Duvalier property and one on the Lord property. Access to the site is tricky. We worked this out, we think, in a way that makes sense and only causes temporary disruption, and that is by creating a construction access from the Duvalier property that makes its way down the bank at an angle to work with the slope. And the reason for that access is to get a small mini excavator size machine at the toe of the bank to be able to hoist the logs and set them and do the minor shaping and excavation necessary. So that's just to get that equipment, and then of course workmen down to the lower side of the bank. We're showing another construction access, and maybe I could have mislabeled that. It's not to access down to the beach, it's to gain access for staging and materials at the top of the bank. The core logs and sand and beach grass would be delivered and then lowered down onto the beach from above, so that this mini excavator at the base of the bank could then set them. We tried our best to try to minimize tree removal. There's a 6-inch cedar we're planning to relocate, and there is one 15-inch oak tree that we think needs to be removed to gain access. Ironically, the properties are fairly heavily wooded. Some of the trees are threatened by the erosion and they could fall. Some of them are damaged, and if the erosion continues, we'd lose more trees. We believe the mini excavator can weave his way through the trees and get down to the lower section. There'll be some underbrush that's temporarily disturbed, but that would be cleaned up and restored once all the work's done. There'd be no equipment on the beach. They would work in manageable sections so that there's not a lot of material and core logs, whatever could be installed on that given day would be installed, and the equipment would be removed from the beach. I think that pretty much sums it up. Unless Chip wants to add something, we're here to answer questions.
Thanks, Mike.
Oh, I did want to add one thing. It does say it in the narrative, but we recognize that this is a form of armoring, but it's a softer versus rock. But these types of systems need to be maintained. They need to be babysat, for lack of a better word, especially in the beginning, to make sure the beach grass takes root. You could get a small storm, you could get a large storm, and you could have some damage. If those, during the 3-year order of conditions period, if that occurred, after it was completed, we'd notify Jen. We'd keep the order open for the 3 years, and we'd notify Jen that we might need to do something and make sure it was okay during the life of the order. If after the order expired, something happened, we'd evaluate it and then again contact Jen and make a decision if it could be handled by an RDA or a more detailed notice of intent needed to be. But believe me, both property owners would be heavily invested in the project, and they're very motivated to stop the erosion, so they'll be watching this closely. If you approve it, they'll be the best babysitting source, I guess is the way to put it.
Stewards at the.
Stewards, yeah. That's
You all
all I
set?
have.
Okay. Jen?
Yes, Mike. One question for you, Mike, and then I have a couple of questions for Chip, because it's been a while since you and I went out there. Chip, we were out there a while ago, right?
I'm sorry, yes.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to go to the
So-
podium, so.
Mike, just quickly, just for the record, the age of the house is there.
1950s, our house. I think the Lord's house is from, sorry.
You have to go
Yeah,
to the
to
mic,
come
sir,
on.
I'm sorry.
I just knew they were older than 79, so I don't know the.
Yeah, but for the record, we kind of do need that information if they're going to.
I am Bill DeBlear, I'm the owner of the DeBlear House. I don't know which is A or B. The North House, 169.
Yep.
And Linda. And I believe our house was built in 1950s, and the Sue Lord's house was initially a 1920s Sears and Roebuck, build it yourself.
Kid house, huh?
Kid house, yeah.
And
Okay.
we just purchased it from the Lords, who had passed away a couple years ago. So we're new owners. We want to address this, obviously.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Your turn, Chip. All right, Chip, so we walked the construction access on the northern property when we were there, correct? We did.
We did.
Yes, we did. The southern property, what kind of machine are you gonna be using to, because my major concern was the 2 access points, but I
Correct.
get why you're doing it now. So what kind of machine are you bringing down the southern access point? Because you only have 10 feet. Is that gonna be enough for you?
Yeah, Chip Schultz, W.S. Schultz Company.
A dump truck won't barely make it. With mirrors.
This will be a staging area for materials.
Okay.
This is behind the Lord House.
Yep.
What we're planning on doing is just going through there with a Bobcat or possibly a mini excavator to get material from here and then put it down over the, let it sluice down over the bank there. The mini that's going to do the work will go in this way.
So you're not bringing like a crane or anything in, you're just
No.
gonna kind of like dump it down the bank?
Right.
Roll it.
And you don't think that's gonna cause any damage to, like, how are you gonna get around those trees and everything?
It looks to me like we'll have to trim some branches, but.
No, I'm talking like, so where you have, where it says like rezone on the plan, you have all these oaks and everything. You can get through there. I know, Chip, I know you wanted an on-site, and I'm sorry I wasn't able to accommodate that this week. I do know you wanted to, so what, you know what we'll probably do, Chip, is put a condition that prior to the work, you and I are gonna go out and walk the site again.
Fine, yeah.
Okay?
I think that's a good
I
idea.
know you were really trying to get me to get out there again, and I just could not do it. But that'll probably be a condition just so that we know. So you don't have to bring a big crane in there to, lift everything from what
If anything like that happened, it wouldn't make the right-of-way or the access any bigger.
Okay,
If we
that's what
had
I'm
to put
wondering,
it over,
you know,
in other
the
words, I'm just,
machines, that you guys
maybe a
have enough
small
room.
excavator to put over
Okay.
the edge. So-
Yeah, I just wanna make sure you guys have enough room that you've shown on the plan that gives you the room that you need to work.
Right.
Okay. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you,
All
Jen.
set.
Courtney?
No questions.
Kristen?
I just have one comment that it looks like it's going to be a really good project. The beach grass, if you're not having a lot of wind and blowing sand, it's not going to really hold very well. So you might want to consider some other plantings in there, and then up at the top of the bank, maybe something bayberry and things like that, that will hold the coastal
Yep.
bank.
Yep.
You know, just the
Yep.
beach grass in a place where the sand just sort of recedes, it'll just die. So, that's my only comment.
Yeah, that's great.
That's a great point, and probably will be conditioned as such.
You all set, Kristen?
Yeah.
Maureen?
Yeah, and it is a nice project. I like to see soft stabilization as a first attack. And I have been following some with the irrigation, and I see you are gonna irrigate these, which is really important for the success rate. Over the years, we were holding off on letting people water them, but watching the ones off, like in Mashpee, they've been letting them water, and they do really well. And especially as Kristen just said, to if you're gonna be putting in bayberry or some woody indigenous, it would be a good,
Beef it up a little.
yep,
Temporary
yep,
above
Beef it up,
ground
yeah.
areas.
All set, Maureen?
yep.
Thank you. Mike?
While you're doing this, is there any thought to making repairs to the staircase?
There's notation on the
Right here.
plan that the stairs will be removed during the work and then replaced.
Okay, I'm sorry, I missed that.
So they'll be fixed up when they're replaced.
Oh, just while you were there, to minimize it, that's fine. As a educational thing, I think it's pretty obvious that the north end of that existing bulkhead where it terminated helped exacerbate that slope erode. It's reflecting wave action around it, so that part of the problem was anytime you build a bulkhead, you've got problems at the end.
Yes, no question.
So, I think it's kind of classic as you stand and look at it. I know it doesn't make you feel better, but you're stuck with it, so there you go. I'm done.
Betsy? Thanks, Mike.
Just one comment. You talked about it may be that one or two of these trees fall. Well, it would behoove you to leave those trees down there, because in a lot of areas where you have a little bit of erosion and you have trees that fall in, or like if you look out on the islands, if cliffs where rocks come out of the cliffs, that serves as a, that's a baffle to waves, and it reduces the amount of erosion. So I would recommend that if any fall in, you just let them there.
Might need to trim some up if they're on the beach, but like on the bank itself.
Yeah,
no.
you can walk over it.
I can speak,
Chip, if you don't mind. Thank you.
really concerned with stabilization, much more than, say, beauty.
Yeah. Well, I
So
mean,
anything
there's a
we
certain
can
amount of
just-
beauty of a
Anything-
weathered tree also.
Anything that can be established there, or reestablished, or will leave as much stuff there as it can.
Yeah.
It's to everybody's benefit.
Yeah. No, it'll be good, and like Mike says, it's unfortunate, but this is what happens at the edge of hard armoring.
That was our first reaction.
Yeah.
All set, Betsy? Thank you. Mary?
Just a small thing, you mentioned a cedar being removed near the southerly house. And I think you. Relocated, okay, I think you said it 6 inch, and this, it looks to me like it's actually almost 19 inches. Or am I looking at the wrong?
Pointing to this one, Mary, it's
8 inch. No, the thing that's below that is
it's right below the word
is a height.
boundary.
Is a height,
Oh, I'm sorry,
That's the
okay.
height.
I got, yeah, okay, I got you. Sorry,
elevation.
yep. Okay,
All set, Mary?
yep.
Jamie?
No comments.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
do you have enough information to close the hearing?
I think we should close the hearing and take it under advisement.
Second.
so we have a motion and a second to close the hearing, take it under advisement. Now, this is for 173, and we do separate votes on this, right? That's what we
Correct.
discussed.
And I
Okay.
think we should close the hearing for the next one, too, and take it under advisement.
Okay. So we got,
Second.
I got Jamie. Jamie
Oh,
got you
sorry.
more. He's very quiet,
I didn't
soft
hear you.
spoken, so. So Betsy and Jamie on that second one?
Jamie wasn't so quiet when I walked into the meeting today.
You're all set, Susan? Okay. Any other comments or questions from the board? Comments, questions from the public? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions, unanimous, so moved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
One second,
Oh,
Mr.
Mary, you
Chairman.
got to go out and talk.
Chip.
Okay, next is a continued request for a hearing under a notice of intent. Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute, care of David DeRocha, 360 Woods Hole Road, 171 Oyster Pond Road. And this has been read into the record already.
Okay, I'm
Mr. Chairman, we're recusing ourselves.
Okay, so Betsy and Mary are recusing themselves? All right. Oh, quorum for this.
Everybody but us.
I wasn't here last week.
Oh, everybody but Maury.
Was it open?
Yes.
Yeah, we
Oh,
did open
okay.
it. Okay, quorum for this is Jamie, Russ, Mike, Kristen, and Courtney.
Jamie, Russ, Mike, Kristen, Courtney, got it.
I'm not here. I'm invisible.
I don't believe it.
Jen, anything you want to say first, or you good, you want to wait?
My name is,
No, I'll hold any of my comments until after Mike's presentation.
these came in after last year.
Thank you, Mike.
My name is Michael McGrath. I'm a professional engineer and professional land surveyor. Previously, we opened up a hearing in May, and we continued the hearing. There were the original proposal was to make a paved area for the maintenance of the buoys. And we didn't have the right amount of mitigation buffers here, so we ended up proposing at the time to relocate some of the buffer plantings over onto the Trunk River parcel. But based on the reaction of the commissioners, the Oceanographics decided to withdraw that. So we have made this impervious area to be the right area for the mitigation plans. And what I did was we made it very simple by given you a second graphic that was attached to the letter that shows you, it's a version of this, obviously, but simpler. It shows you that we have total mitigation of area of 8604, but the expansion now is 4280 in the A, in the B, and 9 square feet in the A. So we have the right amount. One of the issues was that we needed to provide some trees, so attached to the notice, the letter that describes it was a plan that shows 15 trees over at the other entrance next to the environmental science laboratory. And on that second sheet that I've shown colored, we show you the jurisdictions so that they're all within your resource area buffers. So we believe that we now conform to the requirements of the commission. What I've neglected to describe is not only did we reduce this way, but we also are proposing now to construct pavement here, which used to be the front lawn. There'll be a cut slope. There'll be a new wall that comes around here. And so that area is obviously adjusted. If you remember, there's an osprey pole here, and we had a line here where we're putting low mitigation plants here, and the regular mitigation plants there, all in resource area buffers to a isolated coastal bank. So I believe we meet the standards of the act and the local bylaw. We did make the drainage slightly smaller because there's less pavement overall, and we provided a new drainage maintenance plan, new stormwater, too many acronyms in my life. Is a stormwater report that includes the map that shows what is discharge, plus it has in there maintenance policies and procedures, and it has a description of the system, and it will remove, for instance, 44% of the total suspended solids, which is significant. In my mind, it'll actually do much better, but so be it. Are there any questions I can answer?
Thanks, Mike. Jen?
I have no questions. I have my own personal thoughts on the location of this, but no questions.
Mike?
No, it's clear, if you look at the operation and the equipment, that they can't function at the level they are without additional space. I mean, relocating to a different area totally, I don't know, dismayed is the wrong word, but there's an awful lot of nice trees that are coming down, but I don't see a viable alternative.
Thanks, Mike.
That's it.
Kristen?
I'm a little disturbed that I'm not hearing a different plan. One of the things we had requested was a possible different plan for this area, other than taking down all the trees that are in this area. And there was a sacred golf or tennis court that we were discussing using that area. It seems to me that taking down huge Norwood maples instead of a sacred tennis court, it really is disturbing. This is right on the road. It's going to open this whole area up. There's so many trees being taken down in Falmouth, and it's just, I'm surprised that we hasn't looked into a different area. You could even move the road up, there was concern about the road, people driving. You could move the road. I mean, you're putting pavement down. You could move the road up beyond and put this area right up, upland, and leave all those trees alone. And then you wouldn't have to replace any of the trees, because you're not taking any out. So, to me, it just is very disturbing that Hui hasn't considered that when that was one of the things we had requested, I thought, at the last hearing.
The Coosa campus is 126 acres, and the overwhelming percentage of it is forested, and they've already set aside a very significant chunk subject to a conservation restriction. So, as I said before, these buildings were permitted through a DRI. The commission actually supported the construction of these buildings. And it's unfortunate because of the change in the floodplain, we now have new resource area buffers that are extended. No matter what, we did minimize the tree destruction, because if you look at the work limit, and you consider where it was before, there's a substantial amount of trees that were once, that were going to be removed, that are now saved.
But that does not address the fact that we had discussed a different placement.
Well, I thought they made it very clear that they need to not only promote suitable facilities for research, but they have to have the type of amenities to bring the students here, and they're.
Well, I've never
there's
seen
no
I've never seen
question-
anybody on that tennis court, but that's besides the point. This is an area that is close to the resource that, you know, that birds are using. I don't understand why, you know, the different area wasn't looked at. There's a lot of upland area.
But we did consider, remember, the the buoys are going in this big door that's right there. That there's a big door.
So you take them up around the trees. I mean,
There's a big door here, and what they're trying to do is not cross this road. And that road was,
but you're already putting pavement in, so you can move the road up above the pavement.
if we move the road, there's the significant forest over here that would also have to be disturbed. So they have, we did discuss
No,
whether we could
up
move.
above is just grass and tennis court, up above the building.
Mike, the point is there is room on the parcel outside of the commission's jurisdiction where they could have done the expansion and who he chose not to. I mean, that's
It's
just the
just
end of
that they're
discussion.
Boy has
huge
to
trees, they're
balance.
beautiful trees.
Well,
and
there
it's
are
right on the-
Norway maples, which are considered in every other conservation commission as invasive trees.
It's right on the road, you know, you look at the town and how much is being taken down, and it's just sad that they're not even thinking about that, you know, that people are gonna come along this road and suddenly see the big building and no trees, and they're gonna wonder why Hui doesn't care about how the property looks and about the environment. That was my concern, and I don't understand why we didn't even approach a different look. That's all I have.
Thanks, Kristen. Courtney?
I think you made some improvements in what you had, over what you've done before. It is a balancing process, I have to agree. You know, I'm not happy to see trees go. On the other hand, you know, you gotta kind of balance that with what you need to do. If you're saying a lot of these trees are Norway maples that are going, what are you putting in to replace them?
Mike, what's your caliper inch for caliper inch
I
replacement?
believe it balances. We're showing cedars on, if you look, each of the trees is labeled, there's cedars and tupelos.
So we have a 16, an 8, a 6, a 10, a 16,
2 to 3,
a
2 to
10,
2.5.
a 10, a 12, a 20. Getting quite up there in caliper inches, Mike, and I don't see a 1-to-1 replacement for caliper inches. So it's 1-to-1 tree, 1-to-1 caliper inch, or what?
I have,
It's definitely not caliper inch, I'm gonna tell you that right now.
there's 21 trees here,
21 trees that you're proposing,
yes.
where are they?
Okay, well, it's 15 and 6.
I see 6.
Go.
On the second page, at the other entrance, there was a plan attached to the letter that's submitted.
Hang on. Hold up. Where is this? There's the settling pond, got it, okay.
I don't know if I wanna say that or not. Maybe all 6.
Okay, well, if you have maybe a one-to-one replacement for tree, but not a caliper inch per caliper inch, so, okay. Thank you.
And the other thing we had discussed was possibly looking at the Phragmites. That was not something that you thought about or discussed, I don't know.
That is,
Commissioner Alexander has a very, very valid point. An incredibly valid point.
we discussed, but it's a very expensive work to remove Phragmites. I've actually removed Phragmites physically, and the root mass is unbelievably compact. It's very difficult how to remove it. I understand there are people that go in and insert poison stem by stem, but that's a very significant area. If you look at the size of that area, it's very significant in size.
Courtney, were you all set?
Yeah. I mean, there are other methods of tackling Phragmites as well. I mean, there are people who do it. We've authorized to do it here in Falmouth in different areas. That would not, I don't think, necessarily involve the physical removing of the plant masses. I mean, you're describing cut and drip, which is labor intensive, but there are other ways of approaching it, depending on what.
The only other method I know is to flood it with salt water, but that would be extraordinarily expensive, to say the least. Plus, we don't know if that was ever solved. A saltwater wetland, especially since we border and vegetated wetland across the street or freshwater. So we did look at flooding that with salt water, but it would be extraordinarily expensive. I have done one of those. I thought that if the commission wants us to revise the plan further, I'll have to ask for continuance. But we need to get this built at the same time. The other thing is that if you look, this is a coastal bank that's separated by Oyster Pond Road, and it's, except in one area over here where it touches the wetland, there is significant flat area below it. So it's not, in my mind, you could actually describe that as not a significant coastal bank. It does retain the 100-year flood zone.
You good, Courtney?
Yeah.
Jamie?
Nothing to add.
Mike?
I think, really quick, I may be wrong, but I think we're losing something like 175 caliper inches.
Mm-hmm.
I think is a kind of, it's more than 150, less than 200. There's from the runoff from the parking lot to the east, there was that downspout that is eroded that is now carrying sediments down. And we talked a little bit about maybe getting that fixed to cut down on the number of trees, because there are a lot of trees on that property. Was that followed through at all, Mike?
Well, I show it clearly on, if you look at the second sheet,
Yep,
I do show the two waterways.
yep.
Did you show doing any improvements to them?
No, but I'm showing where they exist. When I look at this,
My memory of the conversation, Mike, and I may.
you asked us to look at it.
I did, and one of the reasons was because I knew we weren't gonna get as many caliber inches of trees as what we're taking down, and I said, I don't know where it fits in our regulations, but we can get an improvement by getting the stormwater improved and going in, and is that, showing the approximate location of the waterway doesn't do anything to help the erosion. And I'm not trying to
Mike, I
drag
think
this
you
out or
might-
bully anybody,
You might have to do a little bit more work on your plan. I just don't think the board's at a comfort level yet,
Well, when
and
I
I
look-
hate for you to go away
Can I
and
be
think.
blunt and say, when I look at the cost of the drainage system over there, and one, there's no room to put an equivalent amount. So that was one of the issues, is that we could not physically fit the kind of drainage system that's now required. So that was one of the issues, I couldn't fit it.
Mike, I think the board's just uncomfortable at this point with this plan a little bit, and I
Well,
think some
then
more
I should ask
improvement
for
can be
it.
done.
if the applicant believes that he's done the best he can, and he needs this project, then I think I have the information to move forward. That's where I am, and that's, I'm not thrilled with it, but that's where I sit.
You risk the chance of closing your hearing with a board that's not thrilled with your project, Mike, and that's gonna be your choice. I'm just laying it very clear to you so there's no misunderstanding again in this room that this board is uncomfortable with this plan. If that is a choice that you're going to make to close the hearing, I just want you to be aware of that.
And I thought we were gonna see a little bit different too, Mike. I agree with Kristen. I really, Mike had some good points about the drainage. I said, yeah, maybe if they threw that in and took care of that runoff, that'd be great. But I really thought I was gonna see a little bit more of a change here.
I will ask for, request a continued.
Unfortunately, Mike, I cannot give you a continuance until the 20th of July. I know, I'm sorry.
I'm sure I can do that.
Oh, wait, Kristen might not be able to do it, and then you're down to 4.
Well, we need to get this built, so the has to be the 20th.
Mike, I understand that, but also who could come to us a little bit sooner? Just saying.
Yeah, I'm going that week.
So I request
Are you
a
gone?
continuance on the 20th of July.
Well, you're risking a 4-person quorum. I mean, if we go to the 20th, you're down to 4.
Okay.
We could do it on the 13th. You are busy on the 13th now.
I'm not putting in, no,
Okay,
not for
that's
the
fine.
13th, no.
So I guess we can do it to the 20th then. But are you comfortable with that, Mr. Chairman, or not?
Well, it's a chance we're gonna take, I guess. The 20th, Mike, with the chance that it's just gonna be 4 of us.
Understood. So
Okay.
if someone isn't here, then we'll have to ask for another continuance, because you won't have a quorum.
Correct.
So Kristen is not gonna be here on the 20th,
Well,
so.
that'll
I-
make him happy.
Mike, change the plan. Thank you.
So we just get a motion to continue?
I make a motion, have the applicant continue to the 20th. Second.
Got a second from Courtney. Any other comments or questions? Comments, questions from the public? None? Call for the vote. All those in favor of continuing until July 20th, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions, unanimous, so moved. So we continue
you,
on the
Mike.
20th. Thanks, Mike.
If we are short, we can
I will
always-
let you know as soon as I know, Mike.
Yeah, but we can always ask to reform the quorum, which means we open up the hearing.
That's something we can
It's a
explore.
possibility, sure.
Sorry, Mike.
Okay.
On a
Vote.
happier note, it's always nice to see you, Mike. We haven't seen you for a while. It is. But now you can send your staff back. We've had enough.
I've been busy. You should Google Michael D. McGrath and ResearchGate. You'll see some very interesting information.
Nice.
I'm
Okay.
removing pharmaceuticals from Westport.
Wow.
Very good.
Way to Google yourself, Mike. Okay.
Well, if I don't say it, they will not know. I'd be happy to come and make a presentation if you want.
When
It's such a
when
bad
our
idea
summer
someday.
schedule is over, we'll consider it, Mike.
Yeah, that might
That-
not be
it
such
would
a
be
bad
interesting.
idea. All the information we get is great.
Really against that.
If you have nitrogen pollution, you have.
Okay, Mike, we have to vote orders. Thank you.
Okay, vote order conditions. Betsy and Mary, right?
You got it?
Can you send Mary and
Thanks, yeah.
Maury and Beth.
Yeah,
We're not doing his line, they don't have a DEP number. Kristen, you were correct.
It's gonna, I mean, the town is gonna drive by there,
Yeah,
because it's a beautiful wooded area,
yeah, absolutely.
and they've got lots of area that they can move into.
All right, I have the form sheet. I don't know what I did with them.
all right, 18 Hotel Street.
Hang on, I have the form sheets. Seriously? Oh, no, I threw them down. Sorry. Yes, we cannot vote Hedge Lane.
I agree.
We can't vote Hedge Lane. Yes, I'll take that. Because we don't have a DEP number. We inadvertently closed the hearing, we don't have a DEP number. You can't actually issue something with a DEP number.
Yep.
So that's just gonna have to carry over to the next. Thing. Hotel Street was the little restoration project. Oh,
Okay, so lot number 5, Hedge Lane, we need to table or continue that
yeah, we don't have a DEP number.
because of a DEP number mistake by the
Hotel.
chairman.
Jamie, Mary, Betsy, Russ, Mike, Maury, Kristen, Courtney. No, Mr. Chairman, it was my fault. I should have let you know you didn't have a DEP. Yeah, everybody. So 18 Hotel Street was the little project that was in the Dunel Swale. They're doing a restoration because they had been, the wetland area had been altered over time. They are proposing to put a row of native shrubs around the wetland, and staff is agreement if they just let the interior little part
Oh, I remember
alone,
this project.
the sedges and rushes will
By
come
Minot.
up, because if they stop mowing
By
it,
Minot.
they will.
Uh,
It is by
Yacht
Minot Yacht
Club.
Club.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
do want the ability to put a row
Oh,
of
yeah,
apeberry
right.
and/or bayberry or cedars along the road
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah.
privacy. And they did submit a revised plan with the correct wetland scientist on it, so.
Yeah, great, that was, yeah,
Yeah,
that would be a nice little
Angela
project.
proposed,
Right.
presented the project for the applicant.
Right, and she might have to move that little row in
Yeah.
further, because there's a
Yeah.
cement thing
Yep.
that's buried. Yep.
Is this one of these that might need the markers or not?
No, because what they're
Okay.
doing is they're putting the shrub layer in front and then letting the interior grow up. So that was one of the issues, was they kept just
Pushing along
mowing.
them? Yep.
A new property owner, it was altered prior, and they just continued, so.
So this was Hedge Lane, right?
No, that was
No.
Hotel
No,
Street.
that
I'm sorry, hotel.
Lane
Hotel.
we can't do.
All right, but we need to take a vote on the hedge, right?
No, you
No,
need
we
to take
No?
a vote on 18 Hotel, which we
Right.
just discussed.
Okay.
I make a motion that we accept as discussed.
Second.
Second.
You got Mary? Okay, I'll go by Susan, any time. Okay. Any other comments, questions from the board? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for the vote to approve as discussed. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Abstentions, unanimous, so moved. So now, are we gonna take a vote on Hedge to continue this, or to
No, you
table
just,
it?
we'll
No,
just
we
carry
just
it
leave
over.
it.
We just,
Yeah,
we
just
don't
carry
have
it
to do
over,
that?
yeah.
Okay,
It's on the record, we don't have a DEP number. They did attempt to call DEP and obtain one, and that just did not happen.
okay.
So
Okay, so we're just
the
gonna-
20-day issue doesn't kick in?
Well,
Yeah.
we shouldn't have closed it without, the 20-day issue kicks in when they are issued a
So
number.
it's on us, so.
Yeah,
Okay,
so,
Okay.
all right, so let's go to 44 Pondlet Place.
same quorum.
This is the one that was not, it was up to 3% bigger, but then when we looked, it's actually smaller.
Yes, it's an amended order. The house went like that. They put another deck in. The patio is still the same with a 0 limit of work, but you guys voted that. It's just a modification of the house footprint, and you did issue the extension
Yep.
for a year, so I don't think there was any, real special conditions that are required.
I make a motion that we accept.
They-
Was there-
Second.
there was-
Well,
Okay, I just had, on one of my notes was that the 3 cedar trees were directly on the property line.
oh, yes, so
And I
move
think,
them
yeah,
in.
just
Move the
move
cedar
the
trees
cedar
in.
trees in 10 feet or something, so they have Because the neighbors can just cut them if they want.
One second, absolutely.
Yep.
Okay, so we had a motion by Betsy and a second by Mike. Any other comments or questions on 44 Falmouth Place?
Yeah, because they were filling in the A to when they can, and then
Yep.
they're not required to do anything else in your regs.
Okay, hearing none, I'll call for the vote to accept as,
Discuss.
approve as discussed.
Approve is discussed.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions unanimous, so moved. 157 Shorewood Drive for the Rico.
Yes, this was, they modified the house location and the deck location to meet the
Save the
setback
Yes.
of the original house and to
Yeah.
save the 25-inch oak. Therefore, the mitigation plantings changed, so they're not planting the 5 scarlet oaks on each side of the property that they were, but the house has shifted, the oak is going to be saved, and the deck, in accordance with their original order of condition, what the order of conditions you issued, they were required to submit amended plan. The deck now is in compliance with your regulations by not moving any closer than the original primary structure, and the house has shifted to save the oak and make the deck a little bit more, it looked like it had a funky configuration if they had to do it the other way.
I make a motion that we accept as discussed.
Second.
Okay, so a motion by Betsy, second by Mary to accept as discussed. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. Abstentions unanimous, so moved.
Yes.
83 Gunning Point Ave.
Again, an amended modification of the house footprint, and this one, I gotta look, sorry.
The orchard.
There's more mitigation. This
Yeah,
one
more
is bigger.
mitigation.
Yes,
Yeah.
originally.
So the house is a little bit bigger. The house grew in size by like 600 and 700 square feet. Plantings have been adjusted in accordance with that, and staff does not have any issues with.
The only thing in his narrative, remember he put on the plan, lawn area should be established and maintained according to Falmouth friendly.
No
And that has
Falmouth
the-
friendly lawn.
No Falmouth friendly lawn, it's
We don't
no-
even put that in the orders anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this one.
I just hope that,
No, it's not even referenced in your order of conditions anymore, we took that
and
out.
can you put in the order then that there's no fertilizing or the new bylaw?
We could make a note of the new bylaw.
Because it's on the plan, and you
Okay,
know
we
what'll
can make a
happen.
note of the new bylaw.
If I was the landscaper, I'd-
We'll add a standard special condition noting the new bylaw.
I move that we accept as discussed.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Betsy and a second by Mary, I guess, to accept as discussed. All. Any other comments or questions from the board? Okay, hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions unanimous, so moved.
Wait 1 second, Mr. Chairman.
Uh-oh.
You need to schedule a meeting to vote the orders that you closed tonight.
We do, because we don't meet for 3 weeks?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's always something.
Make a motion, we have a meeting at 5:30 tomorrow morning.
I was just gonna say the same thing.
It has to be,
Enjoy yourself.
Second.
it has to be advertised, it's not advertised
Come on,
yet.
mid-morning.
We can do it 5:30 another morning.
Here's the deal, guys. My schedule's a little crazy for the next couple of weeks, so I will be in on Monday. Not here tomorrow, Thursday, I'll be in on
The
Monday.
4th of July weekend, and the week before the 4th?
The week before the 4th, I'm either in on
27th.
Monday. I can guarantee I'm here on Monday. I cannot guarantee any time after that. I'll know on Monday.
And I know that any time after that, it's gonna be tough, because I'm sure Jamie's like me, we're gonna be straight out.
So
You
we
mean
could,
after Monday?
I could,
All
we
next
could
week is
do
the
it.
crunch.
Can you advertise for Monday on
Monday?
time?
I need 48 hours, so if I get it by tomorrow morning. No, I can't,
No, you can't.
no. I don't have a 48 hour,
Some other civilized.
because I wouldn't be able to get it in before 7 AM. It wouldn't be posted in.
What if we have it
Later in the day?
later in the day?
That's fine, you can have it later in the day, but then
Not everybody has to come.
I
Yeah.
lose Jamie.
If you guys can't
Maury.
come, if you're
I
working.
mean, I can try, but it just,
Yeah, if you can't come, then
We
don't.
still have a quorum, so,
All right, which
Yeah.
pleasure, guys. I can
So-
post it for that
And they weren't hard
afternoon.
ones.
can everybody make 4 o'clock?
Yeah,
On
like
Monday?
4 o'clock.
Monday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, is that good?
Yeah.
Hang on.
I'll try, I'll try to
Okay.
make it fine.
Okay, we understand. I know Jamie must be slamming too, so.
We'll
Well, one of
definitely
my-
need a reminder email.
One of my workers
Yeah.
is gone for the whole week. And I
We'll
just have
meet
to
before.
have a deadline on the 28th.
Give me
Okay.
1 second, guys, I gotta check my schedule.
We're talking the 27th?
Yes.
Monday.
Yeah, we're talking Monday,
27th.
the 27th.
Okay.
Discovery Day.
Oh, wait,
In
a
Canada.
discovery meeting, I don't know if I can do that.
Oh, look, the only thing I have is a meeting with Mike McGrath. Sure. How about when I'm supposed to meet Mike? No, I'm only kidding. 4 o'clock's fine. So I'll have the Courtney post them up with me.
1600.
Can I say something?
Here or
Sure,
downstairs?
Betsy.
We have to meet up here.
Yeah.
Not yet, guys. Don't do
You
it.
wouldn't steal it, I get it.
Hang on, guys, 1 second. Sam, do you know if anybody meets in here Monday afternoons before you guys? Not typically, okay. Yeah, I will. Okay, so Monday tentatively up here at 4 o'clock, and if the meeting room changes, we'll let you know.
Well, you'll have to send us out a reminder anyway, and just tell us where to
I'm
be.
gonna write all the notes down that Courtney needs to remind you, and, you know, everything like
I
that.
always do. Okay, anything else?
I have something else.
Okay, Betsy?
I just want to let you know that I'm working with the 300 committee, and I'd like to sort of get the blessing. So Mike and I walked the area the other day, but to work on the combination of the Coonamessett River Heritage Trail, the kiosks, the education center using the granite blocks, and we're working together to put in a CPC grant that we have to start, not next week, but the week after, and it's due August 15th. And it'll be a joint 300 committee, Conservation Commission, CONCOM submission.
Sounds
So I
great.
just wanted to let you know and sort of
You have
get
my
the blessing.
Do you need a motion on
You
this?
want an official vote?
Sure, they said, did you get a vote? And I said, oh, well, everybody knows we're doing this, and everybody's been involved, they've been out there, but sure,
I
we could
make
take
a
a vote.
motion to accept and support Betsy, applying for the grant for the message.
Second.
Okay, motion by Maury and a second by Mike. Any other comments, questions? I will say this, Betsy, you put in a ton of time
I
on this.
know.
It's amazing. And I really want to see this to the end, because I don't know if we can thank you for all you put into this, but
You don't have to thank me. I got enough grief from the commissioning of the ship, with people saying, how come your name is out there? You've only been involved for a year. And I
I
said,
think that was awesome.
I made the motion and I
okay.
don't know who seconded it.
Mike or Mary
Mike,
or.
I think.
Mike,
Mike, yeah, Mike second, and I'll call for the vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions, unanimous, so moved.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Got a motion by Betsy and a second by Maury to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no. Abstentions, unanimous, so moved. We are adjourned.
And I want to